Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with reTHINK Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 29. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at reTHINK Coaching. And as always, I want to start off by thanking you for sharing your time with me. I say this all the time. Time is our most valuable gift. Can't make more of it. It is what it is. It's limited. And the fact that you're spending time with me truly means a lot. So today I want to talk to you about, are you a result blocker? So are you potentially unknowingly blocking the results that you receive? And, I will share with you, and I think I've shared this story before. It was back in 2009 when I was really introduced to the impact that thoughts and beliefs have on our results. Now, before you do an eye roll, for those of you that have been following me and listening to my podcast, I talk about this a lot. And I do that for a couple of reasons. I know that you never show up as the same person when you're listening to a conversation about a same topic. And I know that we typically only hear about 25% of the words that are shared with us or spoken to us. So I'm going to keep repeating this theme forever. So in 2009, I was sitting in a training class, and I remember feeling like something was different. Like this wasn't a training program like any other training program I had been to. And I remember sitting there trying to figure it out because my brain was a bit scrambled and really curious. And I remember I went up to the coach that was teaching the class and I asked, what it was. I couldn't put it into words, but I just knew something was different. And the coach explained to me that it was because a lot of the work was based in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which has to do with our thought patterns, our behaviors, our habitual habits and patterns that aren't serving us any longer. And it was in that moment that I was struggling in the role that I was in. At the time, I was what they called a team leader for one of our national franchises in one of its local offices or market centers. And I was really struggling with my new task, which was to attract agents into my office. And I was extremely successful in everything else I had done in the hotel world as a real estate agent, as a team lead of a group. I had reached levels of success. And this was the first time I was really, really struggling. And when I was in this class, I thought this is somehow kind of loosening things up for me, and I wanted to learn more. So I learned what it was, and it's really just the study of the brain and the language patterns that we use. And I was intrigued, so I was a student of it. And I started implementing immediately what I was learning about the power of my thoughts and beliefs on the results that I was receiving. And what was really fascinating as I leaned into and just made a decision, I was A, going to be coachable, and B, trust the process. When I did that in this 8-week program, I started to see results. And what was amazing is I wasn't changing what I was doing. I was just doing it with a different set of thoughts and beliefs. And that was enough to kind of unclog and to get things rolling for me and achieve certain level of success. And so, of course, I wanted to learn more, and I did some research, found out where this could be learned, and I went on my journey of learning and becoming a practitioner and a master practitioner and a trainer of and energy work with an organization that taught me the skills that I have now as a coach and a human being. So today, I want you to trust this process, and I'm going to talk about this model one more time, and I'm going to introduce you to a tool that I want you to use to see if you are unconsciously result blocking yourself, because it's typically not an external thing that is preventing us from getting results. It's typically us, and it's typically because of what's happening in our minds. So I want to remind you of what I call the thought flow model. Now, I did not create this, and it's been used a lot in a lot of different interpretations. And if you are unfamiliar with it, and this is the first podcast you're listening of mine, I'm going to invite you to go back to the very first episode where I introduced this thought flow model, and it will help make sense. And you need to hear it over and over and over. So the thought flow model is something happens, right? And it creates a thought for us. And our thought, which I say is really just a story that the brain has generated, our thoughts produce feelings and emotion or energy. And those feelings, emotions, energy generate action or non-action. And that generates and causes the results that we get. Notice it's not anything else. It's not the market. It's not the product. It's not anything other than your thoughts and feelings create impact, action, or non-action. It's that simple. Therefore, if we take action, we're going to get results. If we don't take action, we're not going to get results. If we take half-assed actions, we might get some results. And what I've learned is that if we are not in a good space with our thoughts, feelings, emotions, energy, we're never going to take action at a level that we can that's going to achieve the ultimate result that we're looking for. So I really want you to sit with that. Thoughts, feelings, actions, results. Thoughts, again, just a story that the brain creates for you to comprehend what's going on. That's my definition of thoughts. Feelings and emotions are similar, and energy is created by those feelings and emotions. So I want you to really sit with, if you are having a negative thought, so just walk this through with me. If you're having the thought of, I may not be able to do this, I'm not experiencing success, other people around me are just crushing it, it must be something with me. All right. So if I'm holding on to that thought or that story, how do you think I'm going to feel? What's the energy you think that it's going to create? Well, I'm going to feel probably uncertain, doubt, most likely a bit of fear, right? And when I'm feeling that way, when I step into taking action, do you think I'm going to take action at a level 10, at a level 2, or maybe not even take action? The likelihood, if you're holding on to a negative thought, story, negative feeling, emotion, energy, your actions are not going to get you the results that you want. So you may be blocking your results simply because of the thoughts and feelings that you have. That's truly what creates the results. Yes, you have to take action. I've talked about this before. You can't think and feel your way to success. It's a part of, right? It's a portion of the formula for success. Thoughts and mindset plus business strategies equal tremendous success. So if we're holding on to that thought, I'm not good, everybody else is doing great, it must be me, I don't think I can do this, we know what's going to happen with the results. But if you dispel that thought or story and recreate one of, you know what, I am really good, I know what I'm doing, people like me, and I can be successful. When you change that thought and story, it's going to generate a different feeling, maybe one of hope, maybe one of encouragement, maybe one of confidence. I mean, if I go into taking action with the thought of, I'm smart and I can do this, and people really like me, the likelihood that I'm going to take action has gone up exponentially. And the likelihood that the action I'm taking with that energy is going to move me closer to the result that I desire. So I want to start there. And I really want you to pay attention to this. So if you haven't done this yet, take out a piece of paper. I want you to put this somewhere where you can see it every single day, whether it's a note on your phone, your screen saver on your phone or your laptop or your iPad, whatever it is. I want you to write down that circumstances. So something happens. Then we have a thought which generates, which have a thought which produces feeling, emotion, or energy. That feeling, emotion, or energy is going to generate the action that we take or don't take. And the action that we take or don't take is going to cause results. Now, remember, taking action with a negative thought, negative feeling is not going to get us the results we want, even if we take action. So I really want you to learn this at a really deep level and practice it with yourself. Back in module 1 or 2, I give you the tool to dispel a negative thought. So that is covered in a previous podcast, but I want you to really write this down. I use this model every day. I coach with this model every day. I live by this model every day. And right above me, if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm pointing to a flip chart that is on my wall that has this written out because I need a constant reminder because my brain is doing a really bang up job of generating negative thoughts to what it's thinking it's doing is protecting me, and it just wants to keep me idle or hold me back. And so as a human being, I need to see this in front of me and realize, oh, that's just a thought that I'm having that's not true. And it's causing this feeling, action, result. So if you haven't, write this down. Circumstance, thoughts, feelings, which are emotions and energy, actions, results. It's always in that order. Always. TFAR. Something happens, thought, feeling, action, results. Always in that order. So, I want to talk today about strategy blocking and what you might be doing unconsciously and aren't even aware of it. So, in a previous episode, I talked about this that a thought that you have over and over and over becomes a belief. If I continually think over and over and over, I suck, I'm not going to be able to do this, this is just not meant for me. If I continue to have that thought over and over and over, I'm cementing that into a belief that is going to impact my overall experience in business and in life. And so if a thought we're having over and over and over becomes a belief, this is really important for you to connect this to your business strategies. Okay, this is where I talk about this a lot. I can't mindset my way to a million. And I typically cannot business strategize my way to a million. When I combine the two things together is when I start to see the biggest results and the biggest breakthroughs for the clients that I coach, both individually and in our group programs. So I just want you to take a second and think about this. If you are an entrepreneur, and I don't care if it's in skincare, if it's in the health and beauty industry, if it's in real estate, whatever it is in, if you're a personal trainer, if you're a coach, whatever it is that you are doing, at the end of the day, we're all salespeople. We're selling some sort of a widget. If like one of my friends is in the skincare healthcare industry, they're selling product to enhance how you look and how you feel. Some of my clients are in the real estate industry. We are not selling necessarily a product, we're selling our services. We become the widget, if you will. So we're all selling. Now, we know that we have to take certain activities to get to our results, right? I can't just proclaim I'm an entrepreneur in the health and beauty industry and I have this product and just sit back and watch all the orders flood in. We have to take action. We have to do what I call some form of lead generation because if we're an entrepreneur and we're self-employed, we're also our biggest asset of a sales team is us. So what I want you to do is sit back and say, what are my 3 top sources of business, of lead generation? So it could be the people you know, your database, your sphere of influence. It could be Facebook ads, social media ads. It could be networking, whatever it is. I want you to just sit with and identify your top 3 sources. So if you don't have it in front of you now, I'm going to invite you to do this when you get to a place that you can. Write this down. What are my top 3 sources? And then I want you to ask yourself, what are your thoughts and beliefs about this activity on a scale of 0 to 10? And I want you to be honest. I don't want you to analyze it. I don't want you to say, oh, it's a 3, and then sit there and say, well, it can't be a 3. 3 would make me not a great person, and I'm not a 3. I'm a 7. I just want you to ask yourself, if you're being honest, where you rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 about your thoughts and beliefs around this activity. So let me give you an example. Before I do that, then the third question I want you to ask yourself is, what thought or feeling is creating this belief? Okay. So there's three columns: what it is, the source, or the um, source of lead generation, or business source, whatever you want to call it. And then there's the next question of, what are your thoughts and beliefs around this on a scale of 0 to 10, right? So what are your thoughts and beliefs around this activity on a scale of 0 to 10? And then I want you to ask yourself, what thought or feeling is impacting that number? All right, so let me give you an example so this makes sense. Again, I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care if you're a hired sales manager or in a corporate position. We are always selling. So if we just said, hey, our number one source, which this is a hint for those of you who are entrepreneurs, your best source of business are the people that you know. All right. So let's just say, for this example, the source of lead generation that I lean into the most is my database, the people I know, sphere of influence, whatever you want to call it. And I don't care. And if I really sat with it and said, what are my beliefs about this activity as it pertains to results? Like, what are my beliefs that me leaning into this is going to get me the results that I want? And if I really was honest and said, what, I'm a 5. That's the first number that comes to my head. Now I'm just going to write it down. I'm not going to, again, go, well, 5's pretty crappy. I mean, how embarrassing to say I'm a 5. But I do that. Maybe I really am a 7. No, stop. Write down the first number. I don't care if it's a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 0. Okay. And I want you to sit with that number. So in this example, let's say you're a 5. And when I ask the next question, which is, what thought or feeling is creating that number, creating that belief? You might say something like, I just feel really uncomfortable calling people I know. I feel like I'm bothering them. It makes me nervous. It makes me full of anxiety. These are our thoughts and feelings. All right. So I want you to just acknowledge that and sit with that these are the thoughts I'm having, and these are the feelings it's creating, or this is the feeling I have. What's the thought? All right. I want you to sit with that, because if I am a 5 in this activity, in this belief around this activity, and I continue to just show up and do it because I've been told over and over that my number one source of business should be database, yet I'm holding on to the belief that I'm uncomfortable, I'm bothering them, it makes me anxious, it makes me frustrated or angry, whatever that feeling is, what is the likelihood that I'm going to achieve the outcome by doing that activity? It's pretty slim. I mean, if you're a 5, you might be at 50% of your result. The numbers typically correlate. 5 out of 10 is a 50%. 50% times my goal is probably what I'm going to get from that source of business. If I do not change from a 5, I'm setting myself up to block my own results. So if you're somebody out there who's like, but I'm doing it, and I'm just not getting the results, this is probably why you aren't getting the result, because your thoughts and beliefs around this activity are less than a 10. And you are result blocking yourself. It's not the market. It's not the product. It's nothing other than you. And I know that may sound harsh, but the sooner you learn the power and impact of thoughts, feelings, actions, and results, the quicker you're going to get to the results that you desire to have. So in this example, let's just say when I asked myself the question of, what thought or feeling is making this a 5? What if I said, I just have this horrible feeling of anxiety and fright? Okay. That's the feeling I have, which is causing this to be a 5. Remember the model: thoughts, feelings, actions, results. So if I'm experiencing that feeling, anxiety, fear, I have to think, what is the thought that is creating that feeling? And sit with it. Well, I mean, I don't like to be called. Calling people is a sign of weakness. Calling people is bothersome. If those are my thoughts, right, that's what's creating this feeling of anxiety or fear. Think about that. If I hold on to the thought that I'm bothering people, that I'm going to annoy my friends and family and people that I know, and it creates a sense of anxiety when it's time to pick up the phone or to reach out to them, however you're doing it, and I'm experiencing that angst or that anxiety, when I go to take action to call somebody, that energy is going to precede me. And it is going to have a direct impact on the result I get. And this is where people get derailed. I'm constantly taking the action. I'm taking the action. I'm doing it. I'm making the calls. I'm doing whatever action that it is. And they don't realize that their thoughts and feelings are the result blocker here. That's it. So if your thought or feeling that's creating that number level 5, sit with your thoughts and run your thoughts through. Say, okay, if that's the thought I have, what is the feeling, emotion, and energy that I'm experiencing? And that's clearly what's impacting my actions and the results. So this is really, really critical. I cannot stress this enough. This is why I coach the way I coach, because the agents that I have the privilege of coaching one-on-one and in group coaching programs, we focus on this. Because if I just tell somebody, just go do more, right? Your number one source of business is coming from your database and people that you know, and you're not getting a result. And let's say you're having 5 conversations a day. Most people would say, hey, you just need to do more. Instead of 5, do 10, or instead of 5, do 20, or instead of whatever it is, we talk about just doing more. And you tend to get excited thinking, yeah, if I did more, that would probably work, right? If I have more conversations, the likelihood of me getting a different result is there. And in all actuality, until you clean up thoughts and feelings and your beliefs, because remember, belief is what? It's just a thought that you've had over and over. Until you clean up your beliefs around the activity, you're never going to get the result that you desire to have. You're going to get a partial. You're just not going to get the full meal deal. It's not going to happen. So I shared with you when I was in this program that I just leaned into and trusted, and then I went and got education on it and got certified and have used it in my daily life. What I haven't shared with you is that this one model that I call thought flow, people call it a lot of things, is the model that has allowed me to launch successful businesses, that has allowed me to partner with entrepreneurs to help them break through a goal ceiling or a limitation that they keep hitting over and over and over. And I don't even discuss doing more until we figure this piece out. Because you see, for me, if that coach in that program would have just said, hey, Tony, instead of going on 2 appointments a day, you just really need to go on 4, and got me really excited that you're smart, you can do this, and got me pumped up in that moment. As soon as I walk out of the door and I go home for the day, your do more energy typically wears off around 5 p.m. that day, because I'm still in the back of my mind thinking, I'm not successful. This isn't for me. I don't think I can do this. I don't care if I commit to doing more. That was the biggest game changer for me. And I ended up recruiting a massive amount of people to my market center, took us from being in massive debt to massive profit. And it wasn't because I did more. It was because I did what I knew would work at a level 10 because I believed in it and I refused to allow negative thoughts around it. I just cleaned out that thought and turned it around. So you can do this too. So if you are not getting the results you want, I don't care what industry you're in. If you're not getting the result you want, sit with the top 3 things that you must do to become successful. meaning sales activities to become successful. And if you are not at a level 10, I mean, you'll not be a 10 every day, right? You might be a 9 or you might be an 8. I prefer us to stay in the 9-10 range because when we hold on to this space that anything is possible and we are in a constant space of positive thinking, positive feelings, emotions, and energy, just doing what we've always done, we're going to see greater results. That's probably the coolest thing about plussing your business strategies with thought strategies or mindset strategies. I don't care what you call it. So remember the tool. The thought flow is something happens, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. Ask yourself where your beliefs are around this activity working. Calling my database, networking, social media, whatever it is. What are my beliefs around this activity working? If I'm at a level 5, I need to find out what in the heck is going on with my thought or my feeling. What thought or feeling is creating this low number? And once I clean that up, I promise you, you'll go back to doing what you were doing and you'll get different results. It happened to me. And I have continued to use it as I move forward in creating different businesses. So I'm happy to share. I have a PDF on both of these things. But honestly, if you just take out a piece of paper and write it down, you'll get it. If you just ask yourself these 3 questions: source of business, what are my thoughts and beliefs about this activity working on a scale of 0 to 10? And what thought and or feeling is creating that number? If you write down the model and then you use those 3 questions for your sources, you're going to uncover most likely the thing that is causing you to result block yourself. So stop result blocking. Get out of your own way. And the only way you're going to do that is by shoring up your thoughts and feelings. And again, thoughts are just creating beliefs. A thought that we have over and over cements a belief, which is now ingrained into how you get to show up. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Tony@rethinkcoaching.com is my email. You can reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle, Tony M, like Martin Caliendo, is my Instagram. You can Google me and find my cell phone number. I don't care. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help you out. This one model, and then sitting and breaking down your beliefs and thoughts around your activities, will be the thing that opens up the door for you and gets you out of the result blocking phase that you might be in. I wish you all the best, team. I cannot emphasize this enough. And I promise you, if you follow me on my path with this podcast, you're going to hear me talk about this again. In fact, I already know what we're going to be talking about for next week, which is a tag on to this, which is incredibly powerful. So I'm going to invite you to follow this podcast, put it into your library, and go for a phenomenal ride with me. I promise you, whatever you want in life, it's there for the taking. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you soon. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.